If you see someone who's a software developer and they're making a lot of money, just do this.
They've gone through a lot.
Yeah. Don't jump for the money. Take it slow. IT is broad. Okay, let's see where this one takes me.
Yeah.
Now my dream to be a military personnel has been shattered. Sometimes bad things happen to you for the good reason. 2014, there was a heavy snow in Dallas Airport, and I was working on the ramp, and I could feel my hands freezing.
Oh boy.
And my toes getting really hard that I couldn't even move.
Wow.
So I just went straight inside the break room and I told the manager, hey, I can't do this anymore. I'm going home. So I was like, yeah, let me look into it to see if I can go to a pilot school and get my license and then, become a pilot.
Yeah.
But then I saw the charges involved and I was like, hell. And about a month later, I became a Geek Squad agent. Do you have any IT experience? I was like, well, coming from Ghana, the only thing we learn in school is what is a computer?
Yeah, it's a keyboard.
And that's it. And I got interested in what the Geek Squad did.
Okay.
And so I asked one of them, hey, how do I get to be like you? I made coffee for 2 years. I became a coffee master and I'm not even thinking about IT. So then he stopped and looked at me, saw that I was Ghanaian because he saw my badge.
Yeah.
And he asked me, what are you doing here?
Oh, wow.
That was the question that changed my whole paradigm. The advice I would give you is...
All right, guys, so like I was saying, I have my brother Edmund here who is going to talk about his journey in the IT industry. And believe you me, when I say he's been through it, he has been through it. So if you see him driving a Ferrari or whatever, do not think that he was a walk in the park for him. So bro, so let's talk about how you started, right? Let's talk about how you got into the IT industry, if that was actually what you wanted to do from the beginning. Because as somebody who is from Africa, both of us, right, being from Africa, most of the time you hear our family talk about how you should either be a lawyer, a doctor, or, whatever that has to do with the medical field, or so you can make money, which is what they think. But tell me, when you started, was that what you wanted to get into, or you just jumped into it, or was it just by chance?
Do you want the short version or the longer version?
I think they want to know the nitty-gritty, so let's go so they can know that it's not a walk in the park.
All right, so I will start from the very beginning.
Okay.
I've been in the United States for a little over about 12 years now.
Okay.
Actually, the 27th of February will be my 12 years over here.
Okay.
And when I got here, you know how it is when you come to this country, whoever you come to meet, the job that they're doing is what you get to do too.
Yes.
You work with the people you know.
Very true.
Right?
Very true.
So my uncle that came to stay with me, he rest in peace.
Okay.
He was working as a stalker in Home Depot.
Okay.
And he wanted me to be a part of that. And I was like, yeah, that's not something that,
You like the soft life.
So I was like, I think I want to do something else. But at that time, I wasn't really sure about IT because, I just came from Ghana as a teacher.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not even thinking about IT because I feel like it's something that I can't even get to, And so the first job I got in this country was a Starbucks barista making coffee.
Wow, okay.
I made coffee for 2 years. I became a coffee master with my coffee class.
Oh, nice.
So it was fun, But then I was like, this is not fulfilling anymore. Because I'm growing, I'm learning in the country, so I want to move on to something bigger.
True.
The next best thing I found was a customer service in Harris Teeter.
Okay.
I became a customer service at Harris Teeter for another year. Okay. And one of my friends told me about Best Buy. And that's where it all started.
Oh,
So Best Buy, he introduced me to the customer service side of Best Buy.
Okay.
But God being so good, when I got there, luckily for me, the Geek Squad side was next to the customer service side.
Wow, so funny story, right? It's funny how you talk about Best Buy because I started my career from Best Buy as well. Because I started my career at Best Buy home theater service where you saw the Magnolia, all those stuff, and then I moved over to the Geek Squad side where I served as a consultation agent, and then moved up to an advanced repair agent doing all those motherboard and all those crazy stuff. So yeah, it's funny how you talked about that. That brings back memories, man. Yeah. But go ahead, sorry.
That's how it is. I was a customer service just serving people as usual, and I got interested in what the Geek Squad did. And so I asked one of them, hey, how do I get to be like you? And they were like, do you have any IT experience? I was like, well, coming from Ghana, the only thing we learn in school is what is a computer?
It's a keyboard.
And that's it. I was like, I identified those things, but when it comes to like actually fixing a problem, I will need help. They're like, okay, we got you. So they started training me, and about a month later, I became a Geek Squad agent.
Nice.
From Starbucks barista to Geek Squad agent.
Nice. Okay.
This is fun, But then something happened that I had to leave Best Buy. So I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with this, but when you are kind of new in the country, sometimes full-time job that gives you benefits is very hard to get. So I was working as a part-time not getting the full time, but training people that are coming in to get all the benefits. And I'm lacking behind.
True.
So because of that, I didn't want to continue there. So I left.
Makes sense.
And guess what? When I left Best Buy, that was not where my IT career started. I actually went back. But I went back as a ramp agent working at the airport.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
okay.
So, yeah. So, working at the airport, just moving trains front and back and packing the bags, talking to pilots and having fun. So I had this idea of becoming a pilot because I heard pilots make a lot of money. So I was like, yeah, let me look into it to see if I can go to a pilot school and get my license and then, become a pilot.
Yeah.
But then I saw the charges involved and I was like, hell, this is not something I can do right now.
Way too much.
So I continued doing my overtimes, working 16 hours, sometimes 24 hours. I would be at the airport all day.
Wow.
And it wasn't fun. And one thing that actually made me leave the airport was when snow fell down, I think in 2018?
Was it that snowstorm that came?
No, that was after.
Okay.
I think it was like around 2014.
Okay.
Yeah. 2014, there was a heavy snow in Dallas Airport, and I was working on the ramp, and I could feel my hands freezing.
Oh boy.
And my toes getting really hard that I couldn't even move.
Wow.
So I just went straight inside the break room and I told the manager, hey, I can't do this anymore.
Wow.
I'm going home.
Wow, like, that was it.
Yeah, that was it. So they were like, calm down because it's still snowing and you need to kind of warm up before you leave.
Yeah.
So, they told me like just to relax a little bit. So I gave them some time. I just stood there quietly, just, warm myself up. And the whole time warming myself up, I'm thinking, what is the next thing for me? Because I'm leaving this job right now.
Exactly.
What am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And then as I'm thinking about it, I remember the military. So I was like, you know what? Let me join the military.
Oh my God. You have that impulsive decisions where you're like, okay, let me just do it. Let me just see how it goes.
Let me join the military.
And I feel as though a lot of people, who wants to get into, I guess, the career field that we're in right now, most of the time, they tend to make those impulsive decisions. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it turns out not to be as good, where, like you said, you were just sitting in the break room, like, what can I do? Oh, there's the military. It's probably easy to get in. Let me get into the military.
Yep.
Those type of stuff. You hear people like talk about how, oh, somebody's talking about IT. Oh, it's probably easy. I don't want to do anything technical. Somebody would probably say, oh, there's this part in IT that you can do that's not technical. And they just literally say, oh, I just want to do it. But then, in as much as you want to do it, I would say that you probably should research a bit more about it to understand that, hey, this is what really goes into joining the military or coming into the IT industry.
That's right.
So did you actually get into the military?
I did get into the military.
Oh my God.
I got in the Navy to be exact. And it was all for the GI Bill.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Yeah.
Want to get the GI Bill, it's like go to school.
Yeah.
I tried to go to school and it was very expensive.
Yeah.
I didn't have the money to foot the bill.
Yeah.
So I was like, if the military can pay for it, why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Just go there, just salute and just, follow commands. And
exactly.
With the money and just go to school. So I guess it wasn't the right thing for me because when I got there, a month later they sent me home.
Wait, hold on. You got to the military.
I got to
is it Bootcamp? Yeah. Was it North Carolina or
Chicago?
Chicago.
Yeah.
And after a month, they brought you back.
Yeah.
Why?
They said that there was something wrong with my paperwork and I had to come and get it done and sorted. But then I came home and I realized that everything was fine. There was nothing wrong with my paperwork, And it like someone told me something that, sometimes bad things happen to you for the good reasons.
True.
True. So I was like,
very true.
Okay, let's see where this one takes me.
Yeah.
Because now my dream to be a military personnel has been shattered.
True.
Because I fancy the people that, you see them coming home.
Yeah. And your family, like those YouTube videos and stuff.
I love those things. I wanted that for myself. It wasn't the right thing for me.
Yeah.
So I came home and I met one of my friends, Seth,
Okay.
And he was like, just let's go be security because he was a security officer at that time. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll do the security with you.
Okay.
So I went there because of my military background, with the 1 month background.
You got into security.
Yeah, I got into security. And, like when I got there, they saw my resume, they saw the Navy on there, they just gave me the job. They didn't even do any interview.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, okay, I guess it's going somewhere.
Wow.
Right?
So how did, because it's kind of like you have so many, or not to say so many, a lot of impulsive decisions when it came to work where you're like, let me go do this, let me go do this, let me go try this out. At what point did all this transition into the IT career field that you're in right now?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
So I got into the security and I started working as a security officer, and that is where I found my friends that I used to work with at Best Buy as Geek Squad agents. Okay. And in this building, it was a data center. And I see my old coworkers in there working with their laptops, just walking around all fancy.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, remember me?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I remember you. I'm like, okay, how do I get here?
Oh my God.
How do I get to do what I'm doing right
Yeah.
now? You know, they're like, you again? I'm like, yeah. Tell me what I need to do.
Yeah.
You know, but they kept telling me, just go put your resume here on Monster, put your resume on Indeed, do this, do that. I'm like, but I've been trying all those.
Exactly.
It doesn't work.
It's not
so
working.
can you tell me exactly what I need to do?
Yeah.
They never told me.
Wow.
They just kept telling me I studied this, I studied that. But I'm like, where do I get the material to study that?
Exactly.
Because I was hungry to learn.
Exactly.
But nobody was ready to feed me. You
True.
know? So I was like, all right, fine. I guess, I need to slow down a little bit and just enjoy my security officerness because all I had to do in the security job was just sit there, monitor computers and then make sure everybody is badging in and badging out and make sure things are going the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
And just watch YouTube videos. So
oh my God.
Perfect roles,
Well.
Perfect role at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Until one day, someone came to my station and it's like, hey, I can't find my phone. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that because we don't have any tool to look for that phone for you until someone brings it in that they found a missing phone. And the person was like, are you sure? Because, you're a security officer, you're in the control room, you should see everything and help you find the phone. I'm like, it doesn't work like that. I'm sorry, I can't help you. The person got upset and left. And the following day he came back and was like, I found my phone. I'm like, I told you I couldn't help you. How did you find it? He's like, oh, one of my friends took it. He was playing a joke on me. I'm like, okay. So then he stopped and looked at me, saw that I was Ghanaian because he saw my badge, and he asked me, what are you doing here?
Oh, wow.
That was the question that changed my whole paradigm.
Okay.
What are you doing here?
He asked you, like, as a Ghanaian, like, what are you doing here as a security officer?
Security officer.
Wow.
And I was like, working as everybody, I'm over here just monitoring computers and watching YouTube videos, so who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
And he said, 2 years from now, what would you be doing that?
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. That was that point.
That was
where, like,
point.
that light bulb in your head is like, it clicked.
Like, that's a good question. You know what? Come back tomorrow and I'll tell you where I want to be at that time. It's like, I'm not going to come back tomorrow. I want to ask you today. Where are you going to be?
Wow.
I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll probably become a police officer because I'm in security and I have a military background. I can shoot. So why not become a police officer? He's like, are you sure that's what you want to do? And I was like, I don't know, maybe.
At that time, you were like trying everything out. Yeah. So you don't really have like,
you know what? I think I need to slow down and listen to this guy because it looks like he has something to say.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, tell me what you think I should be doing. He's like, well, I don't have much, but I can show you how to cut cable.
Okay.
And I was like, what is that? And he's like, you see all those people working around this building with what's it called, pliers and and markets and stuff like that, pulling cable. And I'm like, yeah, I see them, but I'm not sure what they're doing. It's like, yeah, they're running cables to supercomputers. Yeah. I was like, okay, what is that? Yeah. So it's like, oh, it's a server in a rack that performs all these things for us to work on the line. And exactly. I was like, okay, tell me more. He's like, all right, are you willing to learn? Because I can spend like 3 weeks with you and train you to be a cable, puller if you want to. Oh, wow. And I was like, okay, great. So where do I meet you? And guess what he said? Panera. And I'm like, Panera? Why Panera?
How am I going to put cables at Panera? Like, there are no cables at Panera.
Why Panera? And it's like, well, it's a open space. You buy your coffee, you buy your bagel, just sit down
and you talk. Okay.
So I met him at Panera. He had cables. Oh, wow. Every single tool that you can think of to cut a cable. Wow. On Panera, and we just cutting cables right there. Wow. Yeah. I'm like, okay, this doesn't look right. I know we're in the US, but this doesn't look right. Wow. Come on.
Wait, was he a black guy or a white guy?
He's a Ghanaian.
Okay, yeah. A fellow Ghanaian. Okay.
He's a fellow Ghanaian. So, I felt kind of like a little bit comfortable with him, but I was like, this doesn't look right. Yeah. We are in Panera.
Panera break, cutting cables. Everybody probably look at you like, what are you doing here?
And he's like, don't worry about them. Just focus on your thing. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So the following I told him, hey, I don't think I can meet you in Panera anymore. So he's like, all right, you're going to meet me at my house? And I'm like, hold on.
Your house?
Hold on.
You're cutting cables in your house now.
Where is this going, Yeah. Just coming to my house. I have 2 kids and my wife, but, they'll be away and they will not disturb us so that you can, continue with your studies. I'm like, okay, great. So I met him at his house and we sat down. He pulled out his whiteboard, started drawing things and showing me how to do everything. Wow. Like, great. So I started writing notes and started studying. And then 3 weeks later, I was done with the class. And he's like, okay. So the next thing we're gonna do is help update your resume and then put your resume out there and see what happens.
Wow.
I kid you not. The moment I put my resume out there on Indeed, Monster, and Dice, the number of calls I got from that time was insane.
What year was this?
2016.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think around that time, that cloud infrastructure was not really dominant in the industry. It was more like those Ashburn, Chantilly data centers and stuff. So those cable stuff was like really like, is it like those Cat 5 cables and all those stuff? Yeah.
So they needed a lot of people.
Yeah. Wow.
But the problem I faced was every single interview I went to, they told me I knew too much. And they won't be able to give me the job.
With that 3 weeks?
With that 3 weeks of learning how to cut a cable, they told me I knew too much. All I know is how to cut a cable.
Yeah.
What are you telling me?
Wait, did they want someone they could train or what? Because I don't get it.
So the problem was, right, they pay based on experience.
Okay.
The more you know, the higher they have to pay you. So the trick was they want someone with less experience.
So they pay less. Okay.
And then build them up.
Okay, makes sense.
But I was like, I'm not that type of guy. I already know the job. So give me the job so I can go do it.
Yeah.
Nope. 5 interviews.
Wow.
All told me the same thing. So I almost gave up. And he's like, don't give up. You know, that's how it is.
Yeah.
You know, he told me his own story. It was a huge story about like, you know, maybe you can save that for later.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's like, next thing you want to do, talk to this recruiter and see what comes up. I'm like, okay. So I met with that recruiter and we sat down, we talked at length, and he looked at my resume. He's like, great, man, you have a great experience. You have a whole lot of background from all kinds of places that we're looking for people like this. Yeah. So are you willing to work with me? I'm like, sure, you know, I've been working with anybody that is willing to give me the job. So whatever you can offer, just, you know, let me know. He's like, okay, great. And about 2 weeks later, my guy called me and said, hey, guess what? I'm like, what? He's like, my team is hiring. Okay. There's a spot open and they're gonna be interviewing you. So are you ready for that? I'm like, you want me to go to the Kentucky and know too much? He's like, no, just trust me, just go for the interview. I'm like, okay, fine. But at that time, right, I felt like, okay, cutting the cable and that side of things was something very interesting that I wanted to get into. Yeah. So I signed myself up for CCNA. Okay, which is Cisco certification. Yeah. So I was studying CCNA at that time, and I got this interview. Okay. So when I got there were 2 guys in the interview room, and they started asking me a bunch of questions. It was like a 2-hour interview. Oh wow. Yeah. That's a lot. Yeah. They asked me pretty much everything you can think of about networking in cables. You know? Oh wow. And I told them everything that I knew. So at the end of the interview, he was like, all right, I'll let you know. And I was like, oh my God, here we go again. Too much. Right? And then he's like, no, don't worry. We'll let you know. I was like, okay, great. Yeah. So I got out, and as I was leaving, I got a call from the recruiter, and he's like, hey, guess what? And I'm like, I know too much, right? He's like, no. When can you start? And I'm like, bro, stop. Stop right there. Like, don't say anything. What do you mean, when can I start? He's like, well, they like what you said and how you handle yourself in the interview. Yeah. They want to hire you. So when can you start? I'm like, today? He's like, nah, you can't start today. You have to give them some 2 weeks. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, let's do the 2 weeks then. Like, good. So 2 weeks later, I joined the guy that trained me to cut cables on his own team. Wow. In a big company, and I can't mention the company. Yeah, that's fine. You know? That's fine. Yeah. Wow. That's a whole, what's the word? Ballpark of career, like moving from like the nitty-gritties, transitioning to every single thing, doing every single thing to get in there. And I think, you know, what I picked from everything that you were saying was that moment that, you know, the dude asked you, or the fellow African brother asked you that, what are you doing here? It was that moment that really like clicked. You were like, okay, am I supposed to be here? Like, why are you asking me that question? It's like, even though you were comfortable over there, sometimes you need that one person who is just gonna make your mind, that light bulb blink. I'm like, I'm probably not supposed to be here. Maybe I'm supposed to do better for myself. Because then when he asks what you want to do 2 years from now, not to say that people moving from security to police officers is wrong, but then if you know yourself and you know very well that you could do better, sometimes you need that individual who's gonna like ring that bell in your ears and let you know that, hey, you could be doing better. You're probably not supposed to be here. So now you got into, let's say the networking, the cable catting, you know, all those good stuff, right? For the data centers and stuff like that. What was that? And if you don't mind, when they hired you, don't mention the company, how much were you making then? All right. So when I was in the security officer, I was making $15 an hour.
Okay.
And it was a comfortable job.
Okay.
And I think that's the problem with a lot of us.
Yeah.
Once we get comfortable at the position, we don't want to.
We don't move. Yeah.
Because we don't know what's outside the zone.
Yeah.
But for me, you know how I am.
Yeah.
It's like I would try it just to see how it is.
Exactly.
So I was like, you know what? You're asking a really good question.
Yeah.
What can I do then?
Yeah.
So from $15. I jumped into the cable side and I only got $18 an hour.
Okay, $3 bump.
It was crazy because I found out later that I could have made more. And this is what the recruiters like to do. They like to ask you how much you're making now.
Exactly.
So they can base off that to give you what they think will benefit you. But like they cheated me for like, a whole
which makes sense. The American recruiters, that's really much what they do. So right now in your current career field, do you still do the cable cutting, all this good stuff?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Right now I work from home, so.
You cut the cables from home.
Yeah. I don't cut cables from home anymore.
Tell us about the career progression, right? From cable cutting, you being the security officer, cable cutting and all that stuff. Where did you go from there and where are you right now?
So from cable cutting, I went into network administration.
Okay.
And as a network administrator with my guy on that same team, we're pretty much deploying data centers.
Okay.
We build them up, we put the network equipment in there, set them up, configure them, and then hand them to the data center operatives, DCOs.
Okay.
Right? So they come over there, take care of it, and we move on to the next build.
Oh, okay.
So we deploy like a bunch of the data centers in, Ashburn.
Ashburn, yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, I told my manager that, hey, I think I have my fill in this job. I want to move up.
Yeah.
What can I do? He's like, are you sure? I'm like, bro, I wrote a whole wiki training people how to do this job. So I want to move up. Like, help me out. And he's like, you know what? Go study this. And he pointed me to study Linux. Okay. So I was like, okay, it's a new realm. I haven't done anything operating system wise other than Windows. Yeah. So I'm like, this is interesting. So what I did was, funny thing, I had a computer at home and I installed Linux as a dual boot where you can go into Windows or Linux. But then I automatically set it to boot into Linux by default. Oh boy. And I didn't know anything about Linux. Yeah. So once I did that, whenever I turn on my computer, it goes to Linux. Like, I have to make sure that I need to
press that key or else it's going to go over to Linux.
Windows. So every time it selects Linux, I have to restart the computer.
Oh boy.
But I was like, you know what? I put this Linux on my computer for a reason. So why don't I go to a class or find something to study and then learn how to use the Linux? Yeah. So I talked to my guy again, the guy that taught me how to do cable. And he's like, I know of a school over here in Maryland. Now, mind you, at that time, I lived in Ashburn. Yeah. Ashburn going to Silver Spring, Maryland is like an hour, 30 minutes drive with traffic. Yeah. And traffic on the 495 and I-95 is ridiculous. Yeah. So he told me about this school, and I was like, are you sure? Because that's pretty far. With traffic, like, I'm going to be spending like almost 4 hours on the road. Yeah. He's like, I know you can do it. Yeah. Like, that's all I needed to hear. That's all I needed to hear. You can do it. I'm like, okay, great. So I signed up for the class, and for 6 months straight, I drove twice every week to go to class. Wow. From 5 o'clock to 7:30 p.m. Class starts at 7:30 till 9:30 p.m. So when I get off work at 5, I need to make sure I'm on the road by 5 heading to Silver Spring, Maryland. And I'll be in class by 7:30 and then stay there for 2 hours, study Linux, and then come home. During that phase, that learning Linux, like the new operating system thing, my girlfriend, who's now my wife at that time, he told me that you don't have time for me. Because like she felt like, I was spending way too much time on computers and operating systems and, equipment. And it's like, I don't see where this relationship is going. Yeah. She kind of like felt bad about it and she wanted to do something about it. Yeah. But I sat here and I was like, you know what? I understand what you're saying, but I also see that in the future, when this goes well, we're going to be having a very good time living the life that we want. Yeah. Right now she's, working in the same company that I do. Oh, wow. I do work from home, but she has to go in, but she has like a really nice job. So let's just keep it like that. The sacrifice I put in to put her on the side a little bit helped me be where I'm at today. Good. Right. Good. So 6 months later, I finished Linux class and I went to write my exam, which was for the Red Hat certification. Yeah. So I passed my Red Hat certification and then I told my manager, hey, I have this cert. Where can I go from here in this company? Yeah. And he's like, oh, there's a lot of things, a lot of opportunities in here. So just let me talk to a few people and then we'll see where you can go. I'm like, okay, great. But meanwhile, I was looking outside of the company to see what the offer is.
Yeah.
So when I'm offered something in the company,
you know how to match it. Yeah. True, smart.
Every time I get a call about my new certificate, my resume, they always want someone who is cleared. You know,
clearance stuff.
I wasn't cleared at that time, so but they like my experience, just that they need someone who was cleared. And the amount that they were offering was insane for someone who was cleared. So I was like, I can't wait to get cleared.
Once I got cleared, I'm gone.
So it went on for some time, and then my manager got back to me and he's like, oh, there is this organization in the company that trains, people like you to go into the corporate side. So if that's something that you want to do, just let me know so I can sign you up. I was like, yeah, just send me the information. So he sent me the information. I sat down, I looked at it, and then I reached out to the person or the people in charge, and I told him, hey, this is what I do here. I'm speaking to my manager, and he's on board for me to come in here. What do I need to do to be here? And they're like, oh, great. We like people that reaches out to us like that, so let's sit down. So I had like a 1 hour meeting with them, just discussing, how the program is, what I need to do, how to be successful, and how to take it from there. I was like, perfect. So I figured out everything I needed to do, which was steady.
Exactly.
And luckily for me, I already had 2 of the experience that we were looking for, which is networking and Linux. The next thing was programming, which, at that time, I didn't know anything about any program or any language. So I was like, you know what? I think this is something that I can actually take and make it my own. So give me the opportunity to be a part of you, and then let's see how it goes. So they're like, okay, great. Let's do an interview. 4 hours interview. After the 1 hour conversation, talking.
I don't know how you're doing, man.
I sat down with them for a 4 hour interview, asking me about, where I came from, my experience, how I work with people, how I'm willing to learn, how curious I am, and all of that. And after 4 hours, the manager was like, hey, you're amazing. We're going to give you the job, just that the position is not available right now. Give us 2 months and then we'll put you in. I was like,
nice.
Perfect.
Wow.
So in that 2 months, I was still looking outside to see how the offer is. So 2 months came and they called me like, hey, the job is ready. This is the offer and this is how much we want to start you with. I was like, say less. Because now I know how the offer is outside in the company, and what the company was offering was way much more than what outside can do. So I stayed,
Wow.
And when I started, I kid you not, it was not something that I was ready for.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. IT is fun and IT has a lot of money, but it was not something that I was ready for.
You bit more than you can chew.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is, imagine someone who is always, I want to do it. I'll do it, right?
And now you're like.
And then meeting my challenger, and when I started that side, my manager was like, you know what? You are someone who likes to study and I know you can do it. I hate that word. I know you can, because they know that when they say that, I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I know you can do it, so I want you to be on this development team. And mind you, all I know is networking and Linux. And he's sending me into a team that all they do is software.
Oh, wow.
React, JavaScript, Python, Ruby, Java, TypeScript.
Oh boy.
Perl, you name it.
Jesus.
That's the team that he pushed me to go work with.
And
I'm like, yo, why did you tell me this was hard?
And you wanted to do it?
He's like, why? I'm like, bro, I stay up all night trying to study to be able to help them out. He's like, you can do it.
Was he doing it too, or he was not?
He was the manager.
Oh, okay,
so he was just pushing me.
Exactly. Gotcha.
So when I joined that team, 1 whole year, if I told you that I slept for like 8 hours, I lie. The maximum I slept was like 2-4 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah. Because the team is a very fast team. They develop software. And they make sure that, the company's employees and their equipment and everything is set up right, that they can actually talk to the, company systems and stuff like that. And I have to make sure that I know at least one program language so I can help them when the opportunity comes. So for the whole year, all I did was study JavaScript and React.
Wow.
Yeah. And every single day, you will see me on my computer just doing this. Trying to figure out how to fix a code. Or how to even write like a 6-line code just to get something to go, And if you see someone who's a software developer and they're making a lot of money, just do this.
They've gone through a lot.
They've been through a lot. It's not as easy as they make it seem.
I think I saw a quote on Instagram that this lady went to take, I think it was a networking class, something like that, and she stated that if you see anybody in the IT industry that does anything technical, when you see them and they're having fun and they're chilling, buying the cars, buying the house, do not ever envy them, because it is crazy.
100%.
It is the amount of stuff they have to keep in their head to make sure that the company is functioning and running. It's just mind blowing. 100%. So with your story, let's say you learned, Ruby, the JavaScript, all those good stuff. Was that the ending point for you, for your career, or did you also transition into something else? Please don't say you did. Because I did.
You already know the answer.
Okay, so what did you transition into after that?
So when I joined that side, I was considered a systems administrator in Linux.
Okay.
Right? But with what I did then, now I'm considered a systems engineer / developer.
Are you still in that company?
Yes.
And so now you're a systems engineer / developer. So on the Linux side and also, I guess, on the programming side.
Exactly.
So you kind of like jack of all trades, let's put it that way, where you do a lot of stuff. So in your career so far, right? So right now, you're a systems engineer / systems admin or systems engineer / program developer, meaning you do all those programming stuff. All right. So in your career field, right? What are some of the challenges for somebody watching us right now, right? Because you have a great story, going from point A to point B, all these other jobs that you're doing just to make sure that you're getting by. So you got somebody who actually, could tell you to your face, hey, what are you doing here? Like, what do you want for yourself? What do you want for your life? I know somebody's watching me right now and you're really gonna think about that, like, what do I really want for myself? Like the job that I'm doing right now, is there something that I want to do for the next 10 years, next 5 years, those type of stuff. So what was that moment, that challenging moment, or did you ever feel like you wanted to give up when you joined the IT industry?
That's a good question. Like giving up is not something that I like to do, and it's not because I'm pompous or like cocky, like I can prove to people that I can do things. Yeah. It's just because I feel like the more I challenge myself, the more valuable I become to the company, myself, my family, and everybody. True. And I forgot to tell you this, but over here in the United States, when I first got here, well, apart from my uncle, I was the only person here. I didn't have any family.
Oh, wow.
But all my family was back home.
Wow.
So I felt that the opportunity is on me.
Exactly. Oh,
and,
wow.
The responsibility that I had was so huge that I couldn't give up. True. Which is why I would jump onto anything that would promise me something better.
True. Makes sense. So, in that field, the guy that you were talking about, the guy that asked you that question, which is, what are you doing here? Is he the same guy that you've gone through your entire career with, who is still the manager?
No.
Oh, okay. No. So you transitioned managers. So the manager that you're talking right now about that moved you over to the development side. He's not the Ghanaian guy that
he's not a Ghanaian.
Oh, okay. Because I thought he was the same guy that you've been going on with with all your career progressions and all those stuff. And now I know people are watching us. They're probably thinking, hey, these guys are talking too much. I get it. You're talking about your career field. You guys are making the money, blah blah blah, all those stuff. Somebody out there who wants to get into the career field that, say, you're in, which is the Linux side, the Linux admin, or let's say the development side of things. If we talk about, let's say, the bread and butter, which is, the money, what do we call it in Ghana? Item 13. Yeah, when we talk about the item 13, somebody who wants to get into this field, we don't want to know how much you make, but what is the ballpark range-wise of how much somebody could be looking at? And we can talk about, because he has a class that he actually does, because looking at how his career progression has been, if he actually does offer a class, that is something that would actually, encourage you to join, because he has that experience. He's been through it. He's gotten his hands dirty in it, so he understands how to go from point A to point B. And he will talk about all that. But before we do all that, somebody that wants to get into this field, how much are they looking at, let's say, making, ballpark-wise?
So, because I've had, so many certifications and to get to where I'm at, right? With the networking and Linux administration certification, you're looking somewhere from like 69K to 105K. Okay. Okay. And that money can increase with experience. Okay. Because the more experience you have, the more money you make. Okay. And one thing I also learned that in IT, every single time you get a new certificate, there's a pay increase. Yeah. So if you start with networking and you're within the ballpark of, let's say, 60 to 90K or 60 to 105K, the moment you get your Linux, it can go up to 115 or 120. Okay. And then with where I'm currently at right now, right? systems engineer, ballpark with kind of like, you know, company benefits, all the total company, everything, you know, it's like, let's say 105 to 150.
105 to 150. I need to stop being a Zoom lion, man. I need to stop doing the job that I'm doing and join this IT industry. But yeah, guys, you heard it for yourself. So you could be making, when you start off, because most of the time when people come in, yes, I get the fact that some people want to join for the money, you know, make the money, which is good. You make the money, but then you should also be ready for the sacrifice that goes into it. Like how you were talking about, you know, it got to a point where for a year you were only sleeping 2 to 4 hours, you know, just to make sure that you were learning, studying, making sure that, you know, you're setting your family up for success and living that soft life. Do you know that he drives a Range Rover? I'm just kidding.
Not yet.
But yeah, I know that you also have a class that, you know, you teach folks when it comes to the Linux side of things. Or can you talk more about that class and how it came about and how I think you got a contract too with was it 𝐕𝐢𝐝𝐞𝐨? Like, let's talk about all that part. Yeah, how that contract came about.
So what happened was the guy that asked me that question, what are you doing here? Yeah. Right. After he gave me that training and, you know, I became a cable technician to become a network technician at that time. Yeah. He called me and he's like, hey, so that training that I gave you, right? What do you think if we are able to offer this training to our people around this area? Yeah. And I was like, bro, that is an amazing idea because the truth of the matter is, right, Ghanaians, actually, like all the migrants, when we come to this country, right, the opportunity is there, but you need someone to point you to where you need to go. Exactly. You know? And I feel like most of Ghanaians that I have met, they have no idea where they need to go. True. You know, because all they're thinking of is how to make the money right now. Yeah. You know. Very true. And I noticed that, you know, if you put in some time, sacrifice a little bit, play the risky game just for a little bit, you know, to set yourself up. Look at what I did. You know, I played the risky game, just jumping into every single thing, just to try what is out there, you know, and you're gonna find that one thing, that one gem or that one unicorn that's gonna blow up. Exactly. And you're gonna just stay home and just enjoy whatever it is that you need to do. So he asked me that question. I was like, you know what? It's a great idea, and I'm willing to be on board to help you out so that we can train people in that field. You know, because if they see another person who has gone through it, and the person talks to them about it, right? They're going to want to come on board, and they'll feel more comfortable doing it. So I joined him, and we started a company. Nice. You know, so we started training people just to cut cables. Yeah. And as time went by, after I got my CCNA certification, he's like, what do you think if we add networking? Because now you can teach networking. Yeah. I was like, are you sure? And he's like, I know you can do it. You see how right? Whatever he says, I know you can do it. That's kind of like your thing when it rings, like, okay, here we go again. I'm going to study again. Wow. Exactly. So I was like, okay, great. So I came up with a whole networking document, like a little presentation that we use to train people. Okay. And that takes from the foundation of, you know, how cables are interacting with the computers, the routers, the switches, the OSI models, the CP, and all of that, all the way up until you start, like, you know, a network connection. Okay. So we added that, and then we trained about, 20 or 40 people so far. Okay. And majority of them are coming from the security side because that's the people I know. Yeah. You know. Yeah. And I see them struggling. I see them working their ass off, and I'm like, you can do something better. Yeah. You know. So I offer that to them. They come. They see what we're doing. Yeah. They do the class. After 3 months, they get a new data center job. Oh wow. And they're already working as data centers right now. Wow. You know? So after I got my Linux certification, he's like, let's add on. Oh, Lord. And then that word comes, you can do it. You can do it. I was like, fine. So I wrote another Linux document that we used to train. But then we got to the point where everybody that came to us was like, we want to be able to get certifications, you know, because everybody's asking for a certificate. And I'm like, unfortunately, we cannot certify you because this is just experience that we've given you, you know. So let me think about a way that we can use the certificate, you know. And then I heard about 𝐕𝐢𝐝𝐞𝐨, you know, and I was like, you know what? Let me talk to 𝐕𝐢𝐝𝐞𝐨 and see. This is who I am. Like, I don't care who you are. Yeah. I will come to you and talk to you. As long as I know how to talk to you, I'll definitely come and talk. Exactly. To you. So I reached out to 𝐕𝐢𝐝𝐞𝐨 and I was like, hey, this is the material we have, and we train our people in this way. Yeah. And everybody's asking for a certificate. It's gonna be challenging for us to be able to certify them, but you guys are already doing it. Yeah. So what do you think if I give you my materials, look at it, and let me know if you think that you'll be able to work with me so that I can use your materials to train our students. Wow. They're like, okay, give me a few minutes. So my account manager, I think Kevin McDonald, he probably left the company because I just got an email that there's a new person in charge right now. So Kevin was like, give me some time. So Kevin looked over my material and was like, you know what? I can definitely work with you because you pretty much have the same thing we have, just that we have more and detailed stuff. Yeah. And we also provide a certificate. Yeah. And you have the clientele, so definitely let's do it. Yeah, so we signed a contract and we became partners with 𝐕𝐢𝐝𝐞𝐨. Oh, wow. So on our website, we have authorized partner. Yeah. And it's because 𝐕𝐲𝐶 gave us that authorization. Nice. You know, so now we're able to train people in Network Plus, Linux Plus, A Plus, Security Plus. We're looking for someone who's certified because I'm not certified, so I don't want to teach that. Yeah, you know? I don't know the ins and outs of it. You know,
I'll probably take that part.
And we do a little bit of AWS certification as well. Okay. So yeah, that's how I came by with the training that we have. Wow. You know? And the way that we have structured it right now, it's a 6-month training where we take you from cabling, networking, server, and then the last 3 months will be Linux Plus certification. Okay. So we're able to get the materials from 𝐕𝐲𝐶 and then offer students the Cert Master Learn, Cert Master Practice, Cert Master Labs, the Cert Master exam voucher. Yeah. So you get every single thing you need to pass the exam. Wow. You know, in 6 months.
And I think the good thing with this is, because like guys, I keep saying, whenever I'm bringing somebody on board to have a conversation with to talk about his career or his IT journey, I make sure that it's somebody, let me put it this way, who is authentic. Let me put it that way, because most of the time you hear these guys having these boot camps out there and stuff like that. And one, they're not registered. They're not registered. 2, they're just literally going over stuff that they picked up of Udemy. 3, they just gone on YouTube and picked up stuff and they're teaching. But as you can see, he's really certified to the point where he has partnerships with 𝐕𝐲𝐶 to make sure that whatever student that he actually brings on board is getting the best out of the best, which is literally what I would encourage every single body to go with, right? And if I needed to, and even though he's my friend, if I needed to go out and learn anything about, let's say, networking, Linux, or whatever the case may be, I'll probably not go pay somebody out there. I'll probably pay him, because at the end of the day, I know if I don't understand something, he could take his time to teach me. If I have to drive from my house to come to his house for him to go over it 1 billion times for me to understand, he would do it, right? And it makes you understand that he's really willing to put in the work for you to understand, as compared to, I had somebody that actually called me the last time, said he took a boot camp, one of these boot camps, right? And then after she was done with the boot camp, called the guy, and the guy was not responding. And I'm like, come on, man, this is crazy. But those are some of the stuff that would happen. But just to end this, you know, and people can contact you, you can put your number out there, but just to go over this, if somebody's out there that wants to get into the IT industry, what is one advice that you would give to them?
That's a good one. So the advice I would give you is, do not try to jump for the money first. Yeah. You're gonna suffer. And you can learn that from me. You know, don't jump for the money. Take it slow. IT is broad, right? And there is foundations on foundations on foundations, right? If you jump for, let's say, Security Plus, or let's say Python, or let's say JavaScript, right? Yeah. And you do not have the foundation knowledge on, let's say, networking, administration, and things like that, right? You're going to find yourself hanging right there. Yeah. And one problem or one project is going to drop you down. Yeah. And you find yourself losing your job. Yeah. You know. So I always recommend and encourage my students, do not look for the money first. Yeah. Look for the experience and the foundation, and then that will take you wherever you want to go. You know? That's very great. We do hope, or I do hope, that we did give you some great gems today. And what's your number, just in case anybody wants to contact you for the class? 571-528-4526. Wonderful. So guys, in case you want to talk to him about anything that has to do with his company, you know, the IT career that has to do, like he said, AWS, networking, Linux, the 𝐕𝐲𝐶 stuff, all those stuff, you could contact him, and then he can go ahead and explain, I guess, a lot better to you. But I do hope that I gave you some great gems today, guys. Till I see you again, please stay blessed, be blessed, and God bless. Peace. Peace out.